welcome, taking the opportunity to join me on this chat. Jonathan, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to sit and have a talk with you for the longest while because I know you have a lot to share with us today.
Yeah, well, I'll do my best to try to give you the skinny of it. But
I'm sure it'll be very interesting, Jonathan. Don't hold back. So basically, just introduce yourself. Let us know exactly who you are, what your experiences are. How did you start out?
First off, I want to say only cops, teachers, and my mom call me Jonathan. Everybody else, you can call me Jojo.
Jojo. Okay, Jojo, yeah. Going forward.
But I started off in 91. Just by chance, a buddy of mine from high school, his mom was a licensing clerk at John Logan Chev here in Brampton on Queen Street. It used to be an old Chevy dealer, Chev Oldsmobile dealer for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
I got in there washing cars in the used car lot for one summer. And then that winter, they're looking for an oil change guy. I was getting paid at the time on the lot. I think I was maybe getting paid $10 an hour in 91.
901, yeah. Well, it's not much different now because
but that was just the lot guy, right? But
yeah. But the minimum wage isn't far off. So
no, but it's like higher now. It's got to be like 14 something, right?
Yes, right now, yeah, $14, yeah.
But so then the opening came up in the shop for an oil change guy, and of course that was another $1 or $2 more, which is as a young man, you're trying to get as much scratch and loot together as you can. So then I took that, and then eventually, of course, an opening came. They asked me, my shop foreman asked me if I wanted to be an apprentice. And even as an oil change guy, you feel like when you first start, you realize all these mechanics are it's imposing because you're in the shop with all these guys and they're all looking out for you because they don't want you to mess up. And but some guys can be very vocal, and when they want to get their point across, they're literally yelling at you or swearing at you to try to tell you something. But that's just the way people talk. But in this, I find that when you start off at the bottom like that, you got to take the shit that they're gonna pick on you because you're the new guy and you don't know shit because you're just changing oil, and you hopefully you don't forget to put a drain plug in or oil filter on properly and that nonsense. But when I got in and I realized, at first it's hard because you think you're not going to fit in as just an oil change guy, and then you got to show them. I think they want to see if they test your mettle. They want to see if you're just here for a job or if you really want to do this for something to do as a career. You know what I mean? They want to, because they probably see this all the time. And I realize that now too, as a mechanic, you realize you see kids that come in and some have the ambition and like that crazy passion. They want to do this. You can see it, right? It's almost like, oh man, I remember being like that. You talk about the car you want to own, and when you have enough money one day, or you build the car of your dreams or whatever. But after a while, when they accept you, you feel like, it's finally something like you've accomplished. And then you start having to prove yourself, not only by what you do in the shop, but when you get your apprenticeship, you have to also upkeep your education part of it, and your half of the contract you sign with the dealership. Well, I went through the dealership, and there's another aspect, which is I found I've been always a dealership guy. So there's two types of mechanics, I think, in this trade, as far as what kind of workplace they choose to start at or stay in.
Yeah.
So there's small shops, big shops or private owned shops, and then there's dealerships, right? You know, and I think if you're lucky enough to get into a dealership, what I like about that is that they have everything for you. Like, you're used to the uniforms, the dental, the health benefits, all that stuff, right?
Yes.
But when you work in a small shop, you get to see a lot more vehicles. You get now working in a small shop, I realize that there's a lot of cars I've never even driven.
Yeah.
I worked on more Mercedes, Audis, and BMWs in the last 3 weeks I've been at this place than I have in my whole career.
Yeah, because when you work in a small shop or a large shop, they don't specialize. Well, some specialize, but
right,
for the majority of the time, they will take anything that comes
anything they can get.
Yeah.
And this place I'm working at now, I want to give them props. It's Surefire Automotive. They're really good guys. Tim and Scott, two brothers. Funny enough, their last name's Rice, like Filipino eat rice. But no, guys are really good. For a small shop, they're so busy, and I've always wondered about small shops. How do they survive?
Yes,
but they're smart. They have a big contract with I'm not going to say the name of the company.
Yeah. They usually go for fleet companies and try to secure contracts.
Right. Yeah, one that's really big, and it's a big construction company here in Brampton. I'm not going to say the name, but that one of them. But having said that, like, I think also too, when you work at a dealership, you're going to be that kind of a specialized guy where you're going to be a Toyota guy, a Ford specialist, a BMW, Mercedes, and and in most of the dealerships, I think for the most part are flat rates. So there's another aspect of a mechanic is you get paid hourly, you get paid, or do you go for the flat rate, which is mostly dealership life.
Yeah.
And that can really it can be lucrative, but it can really be tough in the days like, Christmas, when the kids go back to school, that kind of, it can be up and down paychecks where you're living like one week, 1 month, even you could be just like dragging in all kinds of hours. And then the next month comes September, that when the kids go back to school, you can barely make 40 hours a week if you're lucky.
Yeah. There are certain professions like mechanics, real estate agents, insurance is like feast and famine. So the markets go up and down and determine whether or not you go home with something healthy.
But on the dealership thing too, staying on the dealerships, what's weird is that everybody in the dealership gets paid either hourly or salary except the mechanics.
Yes, that's true.
What I think happens, and I'm not saying this for the most part, but a lot of guys, and I think that's where they get the bad name, is because flat rate doesn't pay much for warranty stuff if you're having to deal with warranty too. CP hours is different. But
it's different, yeah.
I think that forces a lot of guys to cut corners and not as do a good a job as you'd want them to be or would expect them to do at any dealership, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think if everybody was hourly or salary, I think there'd be less pressure on mechanics to try to make like hours or try to, what I mean? Because as a flat rate mechanic, if you're not making 60 hours or more, like 40, 50 hours, you're like, wow, that was a crap week,
Yeah.
Like guys pulling so it can be good at the dealership. I'm not saying it's not, but unless you're lucky enough to be at a place where all the work's distributed evenly.
Well, we're gonna get a little bit more into that, but you continuing on the line. You said you started out at a small shop and then
the dealership. Then I went. Now I'm at a small.
You started out at a dealership.
Yeah.
Right. At what point At what point did you get to be a certified mechanic?
I think I was licensed in 97 or 96, one of those two.
Okay, so it's 5 to 6 years after you originally started.
Yeah, because I did the MAP 32 program, which is your old 32 weeks at the GMA SEP at Centennial College.
Right.
And GMA SEP is General Motors Automotive Service Education Program. That's what it stands for. And you do 8 weeks in school, and then you go back to the dealership for 8 weeks. So that starts like in September, and then you only do those 2 intakes you do in one fiscal year. Then you wait the next year, and then you do another 8 weeks in school, and then 8 weeks at the dealership.
Okay.
Right. And you do that 4 times. You do that once a year for 4 years to get your 32 weeks.
Yes.
And have enough. Once you get, I forget how many hours it took me to get enough hours to be able to write your ticket or the test, because they required, even after you finished college and graduated, you had to have so many hours in the shop. Like, right. And then by then, when I wrote, it was like 96. So yeah, it was about, I've been licensed since then. So, and then stayed at Chevy, Oldsmobile, mostly GM, because I did that. That was the schooling. Centennial College. It's either, excuse me, I don't know now if I know they have way more programs, but then it was just GM, Ford. I think there was a Volkswagen program. Canadian Tire was under the tunnel on the other side.
Yeah.
But like, then I think I moved out of the GM domestics in 05 to Toyota in Georgetown. I did Georgetown Toyota for another, I don't know, 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
And I got into Lexus sometime. No, I only did Georgetown Toyota for 2.5 years, maybe 2.5. Because I got into Lexus around 07 and stayed there for almost 10 years. And then from there to Meadowvale, and then Meadowvale to Air Canada finally. And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And then last year since COVID, I've been scrambling to find a job where I'm happy with the place. It's not a far drive and the money is good. Well, that's not always the case, right? You can't always check off all the boxes in that space.
Yeah, that's true. Because I tell a lot of people that small shops tend to find a way how to survive, right? Because they have to be really, really and truly innovative to stay in the lane. And the cake is big enough for everyone for everyone to survive, because once a person purchases a car from a dealership and leaves, right, 99.9% of the time they don't return to the dealership, especially after the warranty is up. Once the warranty is expired, and then they weigh the cost benefit of going back to the dealership, because the dealership has painted an image that they're expensive, which sometimes they're not expensive. The rates are the same. The labor rates across are the same, but the problem with the dealerships is the leadership, right? They're not concentrating on the after sales to keep the customer coming and, increasing their absorption rate. But that's another story tonight, right? So it's all about you. But what we're going to do is we want you to explain to us, how has operations changed over the years since you started out?
I can't tell you how many different general managers and service managers I've seen at different places come through, like parts managers. It's by the time you get used to one manager and get up to the way they want things done, they're gone sometimes before you, like for me in certain places that I worked at, not all of them, but you end up having to see like different managers. So you have to work with people that are above you that run the place differently than the last guy did.
Definitely. Like I said, it's a leadership problem. That's what's facing the industry.
Where it in sometimes, and it's such a power play at dealerships, man. You got people like that are, like as a mechanic, I wasn't as ambitious as some people, but some people want to be the shop foreman, and then all the shop foreman, they want to be the service manager, and after the service manager, they want to be the general manager. That's great. I mean, but you don't have to step all over people to get to there. You know what I mean? That's what happens, I think, a lot. And people, it's like money. That's what's that saying? People before money or something, or wealth before, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of the dealership places, like that's what it is. It's like cutthroat.
Yeah.
Even mechanics, like as flat rate mechanics, guys will screw you over for a freaking brake job.
Yeah.
If you're tight with them and you don't know them, or they're new in the shop or whatever. It's like I can't tell you how many times I've almost got into it with somebody because
it sounds to me like nothing has changed. Basically, because that's the culture in the dealership environment.
Well, actually, now that you say it, a lot of places don't have what's like they used to call it a tower operator that used to or a dispatcher that would give
dispatcher, yeah.
Right? Now everything's done by computer, but that still gets manipulated somewhere down the line above the guys that are getting the work. So
yeah,
don't believe all this that that's computer that dishes out the work. Sometimes there's more to it than that.
No, guys know how to get in the system and bypass work. And it goes down to they pick and choose the work they want, right?
Right.
And yeah. I mean, I remember one time they have to keep changing the function in the system in order for it to force the mechanic to take the works that's available. Yeah.
You can't hit C to change.
Exactly. I remember. Yeah.
Because I know guys, and I never even knew that existed in the shop, the 3350 screen.
Yes. Yeah.
On Reynolds anyways, or Era.
Our Era, right? Yeah. Era, Reynolds, and then the CDK, which was formerly ADP. Yeah.
Right. So, but I mean, it was funny because it was weird how guys that were mechanics knew how to use the computer and almost literally, jump in and out, or they just sign off. That was the easiest way. They'd just sign out.
Yeah.
Wait till somebody would locate a next job.
And then sign back in.
And then, oh, look, he got that job. And there's a Mayday screen where you'll see, right? And I don't know if you know that one in the shop, it'll show a Mayday screen. So if there's like a waiter or a job that's not gone into the shop, guys will see, and it'll show you the RO, and it'll show you suggesting or working.
Or working,
job. So you'll know. And that's what these guys did. They manipulated. There's some
so it basically goes to it basically goes to the next part now. What were some of the challenges you think facing the auto industry right now, both dealerships and shops? Because I want to put both of them together in terms of
first and foremost, tools if you want to get into this trade, man.
Yeah.
If I could go back and do it again, I wouldn't. But if I would do it again and still stay in the trade, because I would try to maybe be a chef if I hadn't known that, or done something that would be something where it would take you away and travel. Like I know your friend there to say he went around different parts of the South Americans, but as a mechanic, it's not really feasible to be able to travel unless you have no people. Mm-hmm. Or your line of your business has got places in different parts of the world. But I would have done something like cook or photography of some sort, like
so you make it seem like being a mechanic is a unrewarding job.
No, I'm not saying that either. If I could do it over again, my only thing I would change, if I were to stay as a mechanic, would have learned more electrical. Okay. I would have back when I started, there were still carburetors. There were still a couple of cars that were just old school, like hardly any electrical. They still had roll-up windows,
basic things. And then they came in with fuel injection, and and then for the diesel, it's injector nozzles, and you have to change those. I know everything is now electronic fuel injection.
And now cars are made so that you can't tinker with them either. Like the old days, even my dad would have changed spark plugs and stuff in his own oil in the driveway and stuff.
Yes. I remember doing that. Yeah.
But you can't do that now on any of these vehicles, man. You don't even know where the spark plugs are.
Yeah.
There's just they make it that way. So you have to take it to somebody that knows. Like I get it. And plus they make cars so compact now. They fit more wires in vehicles now than they ever did too. You think of how much wiring and copper is in every vehicle that's out there rolling around. Like that's tons of wiring.
Wiring everywhere.
Right.
Wiring. So what were some of the challenges you faced personally while working in the dealership?
Well, first of all, you got to finish your schooling. I thought was going to be a cakewalk or like easy. I'm like, I did okay in high school. I thought, how hard can it be to like do like a mechanic college, for a couple years? And it's actually harder than I thought. And I was partying a lot then.
Yeah.
I mean, I was partying a lot back then, and I didn't really take it as seriously. So I probably
most younger mechanics they do. They go through the hot rod phase. That's what I call it. Racing cars and working on the cars, trying to party and trying to impress the girls, and you go drag racing and
and you're young. Unless you started late, most of these kids that are becoming mechanics or getting apprenticeships or in school now at Centennial College are probably like in their early 20s, if not late, like 1920s now, trying to get in.
Try to get in, yeah.
Because even like some of the guys I've worked with are like younger. When I say younger, I'm 54 next month, but they're like 25 years younger than me. I'm old enough to be their dad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how long were you a mechanic? I'm like, or how old were you when you were a licensed mechanic? And one guy was telling me he was like 20, he was licensed. I'm like, 20?
Yeah.
And he grew up in the country though and stuff, right? So I forget what he started working on or I think it was like a Volkswagen dealer somewhere, but he did Volkswagen, got into diesel, then he did farm equipment, then he got into turbines and electrical generators for like farms and stuff. But he got licensed as a mechanic first.
Yes.
And then he did all this stuff like in that farming industry where it's tractors and all that stuff fine on a farm. He's a pretty handy guy because he knows how to run and work on it. And yet and I work with him at Air Canada. And he can work on some of the biggest ass machinery you see on the tarmac.
Yeah.
On these Douglases, those English machines that are they're the type of a tractor for airplanes. It picks up the landing gear on the front of his 777.
Okay. Yeah.
Grabs the landing gear in a cradle and it lifts it up. And then the driver actually, once you pick up the wheel and get the landing gear and the plane up, the driver's in the cockpit and the whole thing turns around.
Yeah.
The thing's crazy. It's a Douglas. They're called 109 or anyway, I can't even think of the number, but this guy worked on them because I remember the first day at work at Air Canada, I see this guy and I'm like, hey, who's the young apprentice working under the Douglas over there? I'm like, oh, that's Paul. He's like, what do you mean? He's been here almost like 9 years. I'm like, what? That was the guy's story. Like he started off working in the country and stuff. Now he was at Air Canada and he's back there now. He's one of the guys that got called back recently. So, and he's one of my boys. So I'm hoping that, things pick up and the borders pick up a little bit. And then some of the travel, even if it's just domestic,
yeah, it's picking up as the vaccines roll out, more people getting vaccines. It's basically picking up. Yeah.
My wife got
we can see the silver lining,
Yeah. My wife got her second shot last week, so she's fully vaccinated now, and she's been trying to book me for my second shot, hopefully in the next 2 weeks, because they opened up a whole bunch of different everywhere now. Like you could just go to call pharmacies randomly now and get your shot.
And get your shot,
website.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to get mine too, right? And the only thing that sucked is I didn't even get to use my travel benefits at Air Canada. That's how, because it's a 6-month probation for one. It's the longest probation I've ever seen. And by the time I got past my probation and my travel benefits, it was Christmas and nobody can take holidays around Christmas except for senior guys.
Yes. Right? Yeah, usually like that because they what they do in workplaces like those, you have to pick your vacation a year before, and it's based on seniority. Right. It's based on seniority, and you only have so much slots, right?
Same with ours.
You only have so much slots during a particular period of time. So all the senior guys want to take the holidays off. So by the time it comes around to you, they're all gone.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah. But it's similar to where I work, so I know.
Yeah, that's my first union. That's another thing. I've never worked in a unionized shop. That was it's still a unionized shop to me because I'm in the shop, right? I'm not.
Yeah.
But it's just that's another experience. Like union, not too many shops out there are union for the auto mechanics. I remember years ago, they tried to start one at Lexus and that got shot down.
Yeah. Union have their purpose. There's good and then there's bad, but there must be a middle ground for communication. And as long as they work together, everyone will be happy.
I know, but then I tell you, it's like just another platform for people to bitch. Like some people, like, you know, like it's like you're already getting, I don't know, paid pretty good. And like if it's a safety thing, I get it, right? You know what I mean? Or somebody danger or something. But there's a lot of stuff. There's so much politics when it comes to unions too, right? I just try not to get involved with it. I'll do my I support it, you know, I do I don't want to be singled out as the sheep that everybody's like, hey man, you didn't put the vote in for the yay or the nay, and then you're like, oh, you know.
Yeah. But let's go back into the dealership. What are some of your suggestions or recommendations you would have for dealerships currently?
I'd say make everybody just hourly. If you want to keep the squabbling and the thievery to a minimum, just so it's not that way you can concentrate on quality all the time and not having to make a, you know, and I think that's the pressure as a flat rate mechanic. You're worried if you don't make your 80 hours in a week, because some guys are putting in 80, like, you know, like that's crazy, like to think of. But yeah, I'm not saying it's not impossible and it's not true, honest work. But once you get used to making that kind of money, you can't go back to that too. That's another thing.
Yeah. But there's also another recommendation where it can be about a mix, right? You can do a base salary plus the flat rate, right? So that way they won't feel left out if they don't get enough vehicles coming in, and then the onus and the pressure will be placed on the managers for those departments to increase the turnover going through for basically part, service, and sales. So that can be done, but again, it goes right back to leadership. If the person in charge, the general manager, managing director, doesn't have a set vision as to where the company is to be in the short term, medium term, and long term, then you know they're going to be in serious problems, right? And in times like this, especially COVID has shown or exposed a lot of the deficiencies currently in how companies are run, because they didn't have defensive mechanisms in place in order to mitigate any challenges like this right now.
Yeah. And again, you know what? I've been in enough dealerships to know they can blow smoke up your ass all day and tell you one thing that, no, hoorah, this place is great. It's, you know, we'll have our meetings, daily meetings and our little circle jerks and get everybody all amped up.
Yeah.
To sit and make no money. Like, don't piss on my leg. Tell me the sky is raining if we're going to sit around. And yet when I see that as a flat rate mechanic and guys that are paid salary or hourly are getting paid, they get to leave early.
Yeah.
Oh, they make flat rate guys stay even though there's no work, because if a car comes in, you got to work on it. Well, you just let the parts guy go, you let the service advisor go home early on a Friday, and it's no problem. They're paid hourly or salary, whatever. And it's like, where's the, you know, what about me? It's like, that was the one thing I didn't like either, seeing that sort of different kind of treatment. That's all. I don't know. But I don't know. As far as dealerships, what they can do to change, I don't know. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to run their business, man. Change, whether it's one Lexus dealer or to the next Lexus dealer. It's, you know, like you say, it's all about management and ownership and how they run things. Because I'll tell you, there's only one shop that I've been at where it was a really cool vibe, because the owner knew everybody's name by first. And he would talk to you and say good morning to you if he saw you. He wouldn't avoid you, or if you weren't part of the cool kids clan, you know, clique, he didn't say hi to you and shit. No, man, this guy would walk through the shop, say good morning to everybody, like make it a thing to come and say and see you at your toolbox. He wouldn't even like, he stopped at the front of the shop and just waved at everybody from the door, right? And this man was such an honest man. This place was like, everybody went to the Christmas party. They had Christmas parties back then. You remember those?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Right? they would, it was open bar, your food, and they would give you a $50 taxi chit, and anything above that, if you paid for it, they would give it to you on Monday.
Yeah.
So, or get a hotel room just so you wouldn't drive.
Yeah.
And they had golf tournaments, you know, like there was stuff they did. They gave you bonuses for getting like master tech certifications and stuff like that. Right. So there was incentive to keep your education upheld and upgraded. Right. I mean, this was one of the few places where when I left, I actually really regret leaving, because that was when I made the jump from GM to Toyota. But in a sense, it was good, because it was I see the domestic to import. There's so much. The import is from a mechanic standpoint makes so much more sense. They're easier to work on. Yeah. Right. And then even too, like, having said that, you could make more money. I realized afterwards, going to the import side, that holy shit, these guys are busy here. And they're like, yeah. You know, and
their philosophy is different. Their training is different. Everything, they're trained to stay on top. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but again, having said that, that owner of that dealership that I liked, that was GM, was amazing. And the people I worked with there, it was like a family. Put it this way, when people would leave, they would have a party for this guy to leave, whoever left. Yeah. And we would go to the bar across the street, because they all knew us over there. Yeah. Working at, yeah. Right? I mean, that's how you know too, because there's one of the longest places I've worked at there, and then the Lexus dealer. But my buddy that I worked with then is now the shop foreman there still. And he started there as a co-op kid. So can you imagine, this guy's been in the same shop at this GM dealer for, 30 some odd years as a co-op kid. He started out. Yeah. High school. And then you have quite a few dealerships who have at least 2 or 3 persons who that's where they started out, and they bought their house, they got married, they send the kids through college. Yeah. Well, dealerships, I think, are the fact that they're bigger, more bays is another reason why they got to have more apprentices and more mechanics too, because every time an apprentice gets licensed, now they need a new apprentice, right? Yeah. So it's just the chain that gets kind of people going up as they get their license. But right. But it's dealerships sometimes are like a revolving door. People come, people go. People come, people go. So if you look on when I was looking for a job, it's the same dealerships that I'm not going to mention the names, that are always looking for a mechanic. Yeah. All the time. All the time. Yeah. All the time. It's a reason why the turnover is so high. And it's also a big problem. That's one of the reasons why I'm having this, this program, so persons can understand exactly what is going on. And then they have to hear it from the actual individuals who work in the industry, right? Yeah. Persons such as yourself who have over 25 years of experience. You can basically work on any car. Which brings me to another question now. How are you seeing the type of technology that is evolved now in the cars? Where do we sit, and where are we going with that? Well, it's getting, I don't know where it's going to stop now, right? I mean, between hybrid and pure electric, that being, that's like the future, I guess, as far as that's another thing that I guess me as even being as an old school mechanic now, I can consider myself like, there's a lot of stuff there that I'm not very familiar with, whether it's electric, even hybrid. I never got my hybrid license. So there's another thing too, as far as that, because I think that's part of the curriculum now. I don't know if that's what they teach in school. I think they have to. But there's so much more electronics now in cars and stuff too. So yeah, I mean, you got to be really updated. And if you're going to stay in the dealership, you're constantly getting sent to school to get trained on the newest car, the newest technology of whatever's got just come out for that model or that manufacturer, right? So yeah, there's a lot of stuff, but I mean, there's so much investment, time, money as a mechanic. That's just even tools. Like that's, man, I know guys that have, I thought I spent like a lot of money, but there's guys that have spent way more money than I have on just their toolbox, and then fill it, it's almost like a hobby afterwards, collecting tools, but you don't always use them, but it's need them. That's why they do that, right? Because
yeah.
that'd
It's
be
the same. It's the same. It's the same with the average guy at home. You're always trying to buy enough tools because if you're someone who works around the home, you want to ensure that you have all the right tools in your toolbox. If you're doing something and say, "Oh shoot, I need to get like a half inch. This one is only a 3/4." So so those are some of the things that you run around. If you're hands on, if you like working with your hands, you're gonna be invested in tools at all the time. How should we prepare for an ever-changing market?
Well, I don't know, man. I think with this COVID, it's just the market's changed completely now. Like, you look at you don't even go into the dealership to buy a car anymore, man. You just online buy a car, and like I don't even know how Attilio's like they're doing stuff at the dealership. They're dropping cars off, and you're not really. I don't think you're seeing as many cars as you used to now working there too, right? I don't like for us. I don't know why we're so busy. I do know we are busy.
I know because as working for a bus company, the ridership is down. More people are driving cars because of COVID. There's an abundance of new car because, as you know, a lot of people lost their jobs and they can't afford to take out a payment plan right now. So they're more going for the pre-owned car or a used car. And with the purchase of a pre-owned car, they're coming to the smaller guys such as yourself to have it looked at, checked out, safety checks and all these things. So you see a lot more cars on the road, right? That's basically where it is.
But I think as far as like what they're like market, like everybody now is everything's downsizing. Even big, like everything, even big pickup trucks now are going to V6 twin turbos or you alternate diesel. I think the new is coming out with a diesel or a V6 twin turbo. My buddy sent me something about it. They're supposed to release that info this week. When they change the body style this year and they release the new truck, they're supposed to come out with a small, they're not putting the V8 in it anymore.
Which one? Toyota?
The Tundra. The big one.
Yeah. The thing about it is that you can get a 1KD, which is a turbo diesel, outside of the US. The US is a basic
in a
traditional
Tundra?
market, yeah. Not in the Tundra. It's mostly in the Hilux. The Hilux is a right-hand drive version of the Tacoma.
Yeah.
Right. They're found mostly all over the world: South Africa, Asia, Thailand,
Philippines,
in the Caribbean. Yeah, the Philippines have them as well. It's the same engine as the Prado, the Toyota Prado, the Land Cruiser.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's that.
Right, and those are diesels as well. And then you have,
that Tundra. That'd be underpowered, man. They have to put like bigger.
No, it's a 3-liter turbo diesel, so it has the power. And then you have and then you have the bigger one now, which is the 1HD. It used to be in the Land Cruiser 100 series. Remember those large Land Cruisers?
That was the far ones.
Yes. They were Lexuses mostly here in the in North America, but in other regions.
Oh yeah. I remember seeing one or two.
Right, those are 4.2-liter diesel. Turbo diesel. So those are the same size engines as the Tundras, some of the Tundras and Tacomas. So they have them. Don't be surprised. They have them.
I'd have to see how it would drive. Before I say that.
That's one of the beauty of living outside North America. You get to experience a lot more. The future looks bright. It's continuing to change. One last question. Would you recommend what would you say to the younger generation who wants to get into mechanic work?
One thing that I remember an old German guy telling me that I work with was, if you're going to do this for a living, you work on every car as if your mom or your girlfriend was going to get in it and drive for 5 hours.
Yeah.
So we'd want it to be safe, right, and proper and done right. So, and he told me that, because if not, then get out of the trade now, because there's no need for, you got to work as if it was your own car. That's what he told me to. Was right? Work on it as if it's your own car. There's a lot, again, the tools, there's a lot of money to be spent, and that's a huge investment. You could be spending money on stuff like, and I can't think of another trade that would cost somebody now, oh man, for a young mechanic buying stuff off the Snap-on truck or the Mac Tools truck, man, you're to fill an average size toolbox with the toolbox.
With toolbox,
it's easy 25, 30 G's. That's conservatively speaking, right? Depending, again, small shop guys, you're going to need so much tools. So much. Now, if you're working at a domestics, it's either, a lot of them now are still standard and metric, but with all Toyota and mostly Honda and all the imports are always just metric, for the most part, right? And then you got Volkswagen with those weird 12-point, those crazy sockets and what have you, like inverted torques. But just like tools, and then you're gonna start from the bottom, man. Just be prepared to do all the shit stuff. Take out garbage, go get coffee. That's another thing, man. I never liked that shit. They always make you go get coffee. They're like, that's part of the dues of, as you know, it comes.
It's the initiation.
And I get, that's why I say, like, when I first started, it was like you want to fit in, so you got to do whatever. It's like, I'll do whatever. Just don't ask me to suck your dick, you know. But they're like, there's like guys that like expect you to be like their bitch all the time. Sometimes as a young guy working in a shop, but don't do that. Like, you know, you shouldn't have to do that, right? And I get it. You got to prove yourself, because not, you know, they probably don't believe in that you might even stay. So if you want to do this for a living, you got to show that you really want to, and show incentive. Like, don't just stand there and wait to be given something to do. There's another thing the guys did when you're hourly as an apprentice. You can hide and go, you know, and even then, I never had a cell phone I could text my girl on or anything like that, or FaceTime, you know, like,
or FaceTime,
back then you had to call on a landline to go talk to somebody or something, right? But I mean, do something. Like, there's a lot of times where, you know, as an hourly kid too, as an apprentice, like, you got to look like you want to do, like, you know, be busy all the time, or go watch what the mechanic's doing when they got nothing to do for you. Like, I had no oil changes, I'd go hang out with the licensed guys, and I'd be like, hey, what are you up to? What are you doing, you know? And that's how you learn. You gotta hang out with them and show incentive and initiative that you want to learn what they're doing. And for the most part, they'll teach you and they'll tell you how to do things properly, right? And that's how you do it, right? If you're that kind, but you know, if you're the type of personality where you're not really good at socializing, you have to be able to talk in this trade, man. You have to be able to express yourself without being mad. Show that you're not weak either, as far as, like, you know, stand up for what you think is right. And just show that you like, as if you own the place. Like, not when I say own the place, but pick up garbage. Right. I hate garbage anywhere, man. That's like one of my pet peeves. When I see garbage, or even if it's on my street or out anywhere in the public, like McDonald's bags, those things annoy me the most, man. And Tim Hortons cups.
The cups everywhere. Like,
you just ate your food and had your coffee. You can't keep it in your car or something until you get home, or throw it out in a proper.
And bins are everywhere.
There's no excuse, man. And so, having said that, I was the type of person, like, even still, I'll pick up garbage or even shop rags when they're all over the place. That drives me nuts too, man. You know, just like, and that's another reason why you got to be clean and cleanly, is like, it's a safety aspect, a trip hazard when stuff's lying all over the floor. You know, and again, like I said, you know, you'll start from the bottom, you get all the shit work. They might ask you to do like the crappiest of jobs that nobody wants to do, and that's okay. You gotta prove to them that you're worth the investment, and them teaching you too. That's not just, you know, I want to be a mechanic, you teach me how to be a mechanic. Well, that's another thing I learned from these guys, is you got to show that you're worth the investment for them to teach you too, and that you want to learn, right? That you're not gonna stay for a couple of months or a couple of weeks and then leave, or stay for a year, get your license and leave, whatever. I mean,
right. And that's one of the biggest fears of dealership, because they want to know that if they're going to be investing in you, sending you back to school, and and getting all these experiences and know-how, and then after a while you get up and run. It's their loss. Yeah.
Unless you know somebody that knows somebody, and that's how it always is. You got to know somebody.
Know somebody. Yeah, that's the dealership environment right now, especially at the top. It's worse at the top. The guy who walk, you're there, and then you see a guy walks in, being introduced as a managing director, and then you ask him, now, what's your background? What's your experience? Oh, I was a used car salesman at such and such and such. And you're saying, what the hell are you doing here? Right? How did you get this job? More investigation reveal that he's a friend of somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. You get what I'm saying? He has no proven track record, no strategies, he have never been through the trenches, has no value added to the company, just come with his own style. He doesn't understand the brand's philosophy, doesn't understand their values, their mission, nothing. You get what I'm saying? And that's basically the person who comes in and destroys everything. Right?
Well,
that's a cancer right there. You go and cancer is developed, but in the auto industry, I think that they go and look for the cancer and bring it in. So that's just my opinion.
It's almost meant like you can't have, and I think this is partly true. You can't have a really nice guy being the boss. You know what I mean? Like somebody that's actually truly gets along with everybody, goes out on weekends, hangs out. You know, that's why, for the most part, the big guy that's running the show in the shop or at the dealership, I mean, is probably only going to hang out with one or two people, and it won't be a lot of mechanics. And if it is, somehow or another, there's something there that I don't know. You know what I mean? They'll probably just be just with either salespeople or all the managers only. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not privy to any of that as a mechanic.
Yeah.
You gotta, unless you're part of that group and you're lucky enough to be in that circle, right? Because that's another thing, right? There's always so much.
Yeah. It's a culture, but because I don't know why mechanics are looked down upon, and a mechanic, if he's a master tech, he earns basically more than a manager. You get what I'm saying? If you're looking at it from an earning standpoint, but I think it's a psychological thing. Because they back in the days, they only saw a mechanic as a grease monkey. So I mean, I think that stigma is still around.
Yeah, and I think that's why, again, it's like a lot of guys either become the shop foreman or lead mechanic and or service manager or service advisor. Honest mechanics, there's a lot of them out there, and I truly believe that. I think there's just a few guys that are just in this for one thing and one thing only, is the money. But you can make money without being a scam mechanic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can be an honest mechanic and still make good money, whether you're flat rate or hourly. You don't have to gouge people, sell brakes when they're 50%. And that's what I say. Like, if most places offered an hourly rate for mechanics, they don't have to think of that gouging kind of mentality too when it comes to flat rate,
Yeah.
And again, get used to making that many hours. If you make anything less than that, you're not happy, because there's that many hours out there to be made, right? And then once you get used to that, that's all you want. But yeah, all right, man, we'll talk soon. Well, next time I can do another one. And
Oh, definitely. We have to sit down and continue this, because I know you have more stories to tell us.
Yeah, man. Actually, I'll start to try to keep some notes about even just customers, because customers are funny people too. You got to get to know them.
Yeah.
Right. And as long as you got a good rapport with your customers, they'll want to come back too, right?
So, definitely. Yeah.
I kind of find that weird, because, like I said, at first I didn't like talking to them about their cars and stuff, because at the dealerships, that's what the service advisor is supposed to do. But in a small shop, now I got to talk to customers because they're right waiting for the
And
car.
the aspect of working in a small shop is that it gives you more confidence. Working in a bigger in a larger environment, you come in, you grab your toolbox, you're just working on cars,
Yeah.
right? So you don't get to develop that interpersonal skills that's needed for when you grow older and you want your own shop. Then your personality has been developed into a more customer focused, customer centric individual. Right.
Yeah.
So the small shops has its perks, believe it or not. And
I realize that now too, man. I maybe realized it too late. But
yeah,
hey,
never too old to learn, man.
No, man. And again, if you're not learning, even at my age, I still have a lot to learn. There's so much stuff out there. Again, now having working on, oh man, it's like going to school again. Because like, dude, I told you I drove the first time I ever got into a Benz or Audis and all these different European cars I never worked on before.
Small shop. Yeah.
So, the sky's the limit when you work at a small shop. You got to get good at a lot of things, I think. And I wish I'd maybe done that and got that too. Because once you get in a small shop and you get in there for years and years, it's nice because it becomes family after a while, right? I think. That's why a lot of small shops don't change. You'll see the guy's been there for 20 years, 25 years before they retire, right?
Right.
So, but, that's another story for another time, retirement.
Of course, Jojo. Oh man. All right. Thank you. And we'll definitely keep in touch.
Yeah, we'll do this again soon, hopefully.
Very soon. Very soon, right. Jojo. Very soon. All right. Have a good night.
You too, brother. Have a good night, man.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Parts Talk. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Today, we have a special